Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so glad that you've joined us today for this live chat here on May 19th at 3 o'clock. For those of you that are here at the community, I really appreciate you taking time out of this gorgeous day to listen to some information about Cedar Field. And likewise, if you are at home on your Touchdown account tonight, whether you're a Pinnacle Advantage member, a resident reviewing this information again, a family member or a team member, thank you for taking time out of your personal life, your family life, to listen to this information. The format of today is quite simple. We have yours truly to talk a little bit about the COVID-19 preparedness plan, a little brief update about the vaccine clinic. I have some operational updates, and then Trish will be here with some good news and some spiritual well-being. So first, just want to kick it off here with our COVID-19 preparedness plan. I have good news. The 7-day positivity rate in the Commonwealth dropped to 3.9 as of today. This time last week it was at 4.7. So that's just great news. And equally good news, more specifically locally, here in Henrico County, the 7-day positivity rate was 4.1 last week, and today it is 2.9. So everything's heading in the right direction. The metrics, the number of people that are receiving both doses of the vaccine, and I think I saw a report today that over 600,000 children have been vaccinated of the 12 million that we're trying to get vaccinated between the ages of 12 and 18. So things are not only in the region and in the Commonwealth, but around the country, things are really looking good for us. Our dashboard here at Cedar Field across all levels of care is green for both residents and team members, so that's also great news. We did have the chance to connect with the Virginia Department of Health earlier this week. Our COVID-19 preparedness plan team, and to talk through the CDC's guidance and the governor's announcement from, I believe, Friday evening, and to look at all that guidance and see what makes sense for Cedar Field. And we did take that into consideration, along with the fact that the Department of Health and the Department of Social Services in the state of Virginia have not given Cedar Field any guidance yet that relates to what the governor said and the CDC, if that makes any sense. So the CDC and the governor made guidance to providers and to society and to the county Department of Health. The county has not recommended guidance yet to a community like Cedar Field, or quite frankly, any nursing home, assisted living, or retirement community. So I say all that because the guidance that we're receiving, I have good news for some and some indifferent news for others. The guidance that we're receiving has not filtered through all of those agencies yet for them to provide guidance to Cedar Field in order to loosen up restrictions across the whole campus. So this announcement I'm about to make, I am imploring everyone at the community to let's rally around what is our strength, which is a sense of community, and use this guidance I'm about to give you and let's use it as a next layer of the COVID-19 preparedness plan, and not look at it as a division across the community. Because I do have 7 agencies that I have a responsibility to report to, given the guidance through this pandemic. And 4 of those agencies have not given me any guidance yet on what to do with the CDC's guidance and the governor. So, all that to be said, I hope that explains the why of what I'm about to say. If anybody has any questions about the why, please feel free to call the administration office. So residents that live in independent living no longer have to wear a mask. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Amen. I can hear it echoing throughout 100 acres. So whether you're in your apartment, whether you're outdoors, whether you're in the common space anywhere, you don't have to wear a mask any longer. Holy smokes. May 19th will go down. Yeah. We have a couple residents here in Fellowship Hall taking off their masks right now and lighting them on fire too. So we should have a little bonfire tonight. So that's the good news. Independent living is not highly regulated as is memory support, assisted living, and the health center. Those areas of the community we follow regulation and guidance from the Virginia Department of Health, the Department of Social Services, and to a lesser extent, OSHA and the Department of Labor. And those 4 entities have not given me any guidance yet. So on that side of the community, our plan is unchanged as of right now. Everyone on that side of the community still needs to wear a mask. In fact, the only people at Cedar Field that are permitted not to wear a mask are folks that live in independent living. Anybody else that comes onto the property, whether it's a contractor, a private duty person, a caregiver, a hospice nurse, all the team members, any guests that come to visit residents in independent living, any other person must wear a mask and continue to follow some of the public health preventative measures of being 6 foot away from one another and great infection control. So we're going to still follow all that guidance. But the folks in independent living no longer have to wear a mask.
Unless they're at home.
Unless, thank you, Trish, unless a resident in independent living would like to go visit somebody or do some volunteering in healthcare, assisted living, or memory support, then that resident does need to wear a mask. Hopefully that's clear. Renee updated our Cedar Field Forward plan a couple hours ago, and every resident that lives in the cottages and the independent living apartments, you should have a revised copy of the Cedar Field Forward plan in your cubby box. For those residents that live in memory support or families that are listening tonight, in memory support or assisted living and or the health center, we did not go ahead and print another version of those specific plans because they have remained unchanged. If you have any questions about our Cedar Field Forward plan, please feel free to contact Matt Dameron, the Associate Executive Director, and or any of the neighborhood leaders in each of those 5 neighborhoods. So, great news. Yours truly will continue to wear a mask around the community, no matter if I'm in independent living or anywhere around Cedar Field, as well as every team member will continue to wear masks around the community. That'll hopefully be our next layer in 2 or 3 weeks. Okay, couple other COVID-19 items. We continue to perform weekly testing. There are several team members and or private duty personnel that did not get the vaccine for a variety of reasons, and that's okay. Those team members are invited every Wednesday from 1 to 3 o'clock in our club room to get tested. Some good news that people should know, that weekly testing's been going on for now 7 weeks, and we have had 0 positive cases through that testing. So all that is great news as well. I know a lot of people want the fellowship hall back to normal with, I think 140 people can fit here per the fire marshal. We are not at that point yet to open up the fellowship hall to what was a pre-pandemic number. Hopefully, in the next iteration of our plan, we'll use some of the guidance that probably some folks have heard through the governor and look at the number of people that can actually gather in this specific space. So the common space areas in your Cedar Field Forward plan that you're viewing tonight on your coffee table, hopefully everyone's reading it and using it as a resource. Those numbers have not changed in any of the common space areas. The vaccine distribution clinic, we still have not had a Johnson & Johnson clinic here. We, as a refresher, each J&J vial has 5 shots in it, vaccines, and we have been instructed by our pharmacy and their guidance from J&J you can't really hold a clinic until you have 5 people, so that we're not wasting any of that vaccine. So we have 2 people on our wish list for the J&J to have that clinic. Just as a reminder, though, there are a few websites that if there's any team member that's listening here today or tonight, any resident or family member, there are lots of sites around in Richmond and some websites that we have at our in the administration suite in the event that you don't have access to those websites, where you can actually sign up. Very easy to sign up and get the Pfizer and or the Moderna shot here in the Richmond market. We have a number of cases of people coming in and letting us know that they were able to get the shot within 48 hours of signing up. So if you don't have that information and you need it, please feel free to stop by. Any questions about COVID-19? We have one question about COVID-19. Why do they take our name and address when we go through the gate when returning to the community? A couple of weeks ago, we changed our protocol at the Gatehouse to comply with the Virginia Department of Health. They requested that we get a little bit more specific about our protocol at the Gatehouse for contact tracing purposes, and to make the list easy for them in the event that we need to turn over that list to them very quickly. I know it's probably, if you're a resident that lives here and you get to the Gatehouse and they're saying to you, what's your address, and they have to write it down. I know that takes a couple of seconds out of your day for them to write that down, and it seems like, why in the world are they doing that? Just, keep another log of our address. But that's what the Virginia Department of Health requested, and as a good partner with them, since they've been so great to us, we said, okay, we'll use that form, and in the event that we really need it. So that's the main reason. A couple of operational updates. I just want to thank everybody for a wildly successful Garden Day yesterday. Thank you to the Garden Committee, the Flower Committee, the 25th Anniversary Committee. Thank you to Mrs. Spillman Thank you to Mr. and Mrs. Deal, Mr. and Mrs. May, Mr. and Mrs. Rose, Mrs. Trader, Mr. and Mrs. Whitaker, Mr. and Mrs. Rutger, Scott, McDonald, Eddie. Where'd Eddie go? Eddie escaped us. Dining Services, James River Grounds, and certainly Beth Burrell. It was such a, God blessed us with a gorgeous day to have such a another garden day as successful as it was. And the grounds just showed off so beautifully. Those type of events don't happen overnight. A lot of planning went involved with that in our annual event. Someone suggested that we turn this Garden Day event into a festival of sorts like the Hermitage had this past weekend, where they had art on the lawn and maybe showcase Cedar Field next year to the general public through the Garden Day event. So anyway, people talking about the next evolution of it. So anyway, but thank you to everybody. I hope everybody had a great time and enjoyed the tea in the clubhouse, enjoyed the fellowship, and enjoyed the beautiful grounds. It's always a great reminder to walk the lane and see just how beautiful this property is through the lens of someone's own home and or through the creation of keeping up our landscape. So thank you again to everybody. Little therapy update, again, May 27th. We're talking about this month's topic is eating for a sharper mind. Nourish your noggin. So if you haven't signed up for that, and if there's still some slots, please feel free to join that. I'm looking forward to it. My birthday is this month, and as a birthday present to myself, speaking of nourish your noggin, I'm going vegan. I am taking the next step, and my wife and I are, as my birthday present, a healthy birthday present, we're taking this next step. So I'm going to come to this event and see what they have to say about nourishing your noggin. I'm going to be spending the next 12 months just really focusing on my eating habits and my family's eating habits. Little health services update. We hired a great addition to our family. Her name is Tracy White. She is now the clinical leader for assisted living. She partners with Morgan in leading that area. Tracy started last week before, less than 10 days. We are just blessed and honored to have Tracy with us. She has been working in nursing homes, but most recently worked in Ginter Assisted Living as the director of nursing. She's an LPN by trade, just a wonderful temperament, great leadership, and loves being around people 65 years of age and better. So we are, like I said, honored that Tracy has joined the team. Matt wanted me to share with you as well, those of you that have loved ones and or friends up in healthcare, one of our 3 neighborhoods. Here shortly we're going to be unfolding the next layer in that area, which is opening up their dining room in a socially distant manner. So they're just, they've been working on a plan, and that's the next evolution up on the 4th floor. So. And then the last little health services update, I think we've mentioned this in the last 2 live chats, that there was going to be a 90-degree day coming to our area some point soon, and guess what? It's here, 90 degrees today, especially after yesterday with all the walking and the activity. Lori Shepard, does everyone remember Lori Shepard? She's still here. She did not retire. She's filling in with all different shifts, and she was actually here yesterday. And we were talking about hydration, and Lori said, quote, from a nurse, quote, "You don't have to be wet to be dehydrated." And so what she meant by that is, even if you're not perspiring, your body is evaporating water, and especially when a 90-degree hits as quick as it has in this last week, please, our public service announcement is to please drink 4 to 6 glasses of water. We know what many people 65 years of age and better are probably saying to themselves, well, if I drink lots of water, there might be another issue, but I'd rather y'all have that other issue than actually be dehydrated. So that's our public service announcement for today. In terms of our master planned expansion, last week I did make the announcement I was going to share a couple of dates for folks. And I'm going to put this in a memo form for later in the week, but I did want to highlight the fact that right now we are in renovation mode. It's a part of the last phase of our master plan expansion. We are renovating the assisted living dining room and the health services administration wing. So that should conclude, all of that phased plan should conclude at the end of July. We just received word from the Department of Health that they blessed the plan for our new Morning Glory Avenue neighborhood back down on the second floor. So hopefully we'll get the permit here within the next week or two. We should start that construction, I'm hoping, by June 1st, and that is a 6-month project, which will take us basically to the end of the year. At which time we will begin the renovation of our therapy neighborhood. So that therapy neighborhood extends from the Cedar Grill entrance down to the middle of that 4th floor where the nursing station used to be. And so that is also a 6-month project. So that will start in January of next year and take us through July 1st. After that, those of you that are very familiar with the 4th floor, down by the great room, if you come to that T in the healthcare area, we're going to bifurcate that area, and half of that wing will go next, which is a 6-month project. We'll take those apartments and renovate, and we will create 22 more assisted living apartments on that side of the property. And so if you're headed down to the great room, if you imagine making a right and going down to all those apartments compared to making a left, each of those are 2 different phases, of which are 6-month durations. So those are, in summary, the next 2 years and 2 months of our life of renovating the licensed side of our community. Again, I'm going to publish a memo that shares these dates with a little graph on them so people can see it and read it in a memo form. The roofing project is done. Can you believe it? I cannot. I don't see anyone on the roof right now, but they told me by today that roofing project would be done. So we are just blessed that they finished 20 cottage roofs in April, and the remainder of this entire main building here in 5 weeks. I think that's all for me. Any other frequently asked questions? No questions. Going once. Going twice. Trish Carter has some great news to share and some words of spiritual well-being. Trish?
I'm so excited that so many of you will be able to be mask-free around the community. Today, our words of spiritual wisdom are also our good news. I'd like to share a quote with you from artist and creator of the Dilbert comic strip series. His name is Scott Adams. This is his quote. "There's no such thing as a small act of kindness. Every act creates a ripple with no logical end." I want to tell you a story. A woman named Sally Sylvester led a group of neighborhood children in the construction of 170 butterflies to distribute to the residents of Our Lady of Hope. They began decorating clothespins and coloring coffee filters and transformed them into colorful, one-of-a-kind butterflies. The project was so successful, they decided to increase the number to 500 butterflies and wanted to share with other assisted living homes. Steve Howell lives near the butterfly workshop and learned that they were looking to expand their distribution. He naturally thought of Cedarfield, where his mother, Madeline, lives. He got in touch with Katie Zolkowski in healthcare. From there, Katie coordinated the delivery of butterflies to each of our residents on the licensed side of the building. But the kids kept making more butterflies. Enough butterflies were then delivered to Cedarfield so that every independent living resident could have one. Before long, the enthusiasm of these little butterfly producers grew exponentially to 10,000 butterflies, 15,000 butterflies, to more than 20,000 butterflies. Cedarfield couple Sally and Chuck Bingley were so touched by the butterfly that had been delivered to their mailbox. Sally nominated these children to receive the Acts of Kindness Award from News Channel 12. In fact, they received the award. The Bingleys have been on the news telling the children about their award, delivering them a prize of $300 along with 2 restaurant gift cards. What began as a small idea to get a group of children to do something creative with their time turned into what I am sure is more than 20,000 smiles. Have a wonderful afternoon.